All right, good morning, everyone. My name is John Middleton with IATA, as many of you know. It's my very great pleasure this morning to introduce the Director General of the Civil Aviation of Colombia, Sergio Paris. I could try to stand up here and list all of his accomplishments, but you don't want to talk to me, you want to talk to him, and that would take far too long. So the one thing that I would say that we're very thankful to for Director Paris is all of his work on the regulation in Colombia, aligning it with the WASG, and really strengthening the super important hub that we're all here in Bogota. So again, without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Director Paris.
So thank you for attending this conference or chat or trying to express what you think I'm going to do, that is selling Colombia. So we are going to do that. And we have a lot of reason to do that around the air traffic network and around the country and around the continent, the hemisphere, and around the new world that we are having in the future. At the end, the hemisphere, North and South, the Occidental hemisphere, the Western hemisphere, is something that always been connected in this way. It's an historic issue. When Pan Am cannot fly into US, they start flying around the country and building a network. And Pan Am built a network that works at that time, build infrastructure, and then we move it at the next scenario that always thinks that we could fly in this direction, and it's so important for the hemisphere flying in north and south. But also we have the Europe, Asia, and right now it's needed a connection between our hemispheres and Europe and Africa and Asia. And it will be improving the future. And the reason is the war, the conflicts, the geopolitical situations, and the need to be more connected, to be more productive as the world be increasing his activity. So when you see North and South, you need to build an efficient and sustainable network. And you put your brain in Argentina and put right now your brain in Canada and think what is in the middle. And think about the range of an Airbus 320 that is the common aircraft used in the region, and you will find Colombia in the middle. And the middle is important because the middle is needed to a technical scale to pick up passengers again, to complete a flight, and to be more effective in the way an aircraft is developing the flight. So we need to build that efficient network north and south. But also we need to think far away, and on that way we use, and the name is gateway, but for me it's a door. A door, like in a house, like in an apartment. A door is the way to connect two kinds of systems in connectivity. Europe, because Europe started connecting us in 1492 with the Spain Empire and the way that developed the continent. And of course, far away, because relations around the world increase the connections and the need of interchange, not only passengers, also cargo. So let's talk about that a little bit. First, you need to know what we are. We are a country of opportunities and a beautiful country of beauty, as the president said, but also we have a new kind of organization. It's not the same organization around the world because we have one organization, one company, government agency, which has 5 kind or more than that, 6 kind of units. In some way, they are autonomous, but dependable of the Office of the Director General for coordination issues. So the office works like a holding in some way, and any other areas has his own mission, his own duty. The first one is we are the economic regulator. All the regulations is under my shoulders. That's why I'm not growing, I am decreasing. It's heavy. But the law said in 1971, or at least in 1938, the law said that there will be a specialist unit in Colombia that provides regulation in aviation. Completed. So we have, under the law, the capacity to regulate the system. So we have also the technical regulation and the economic regulation. When you go inside, we have the authority secretary, autonomous, and the director of transportation office that provide the guidelines of the regulations. And of course, my office signed the regulation previous and a study of them. That's why the regulation of slots is part of the economic regulations, is the appendix C of RAC 3, and we handled that into that scope. So we are on a strange out of the war unit, because the war is splitting the organization. You have the regulation in a joint or something outside, you have the service provider in another unit, company difference, and increases the, how I say that, the difficulties of coordinating between all the systems and companies or authorities inside a country. In the case of Colombia, you only have to discuss with me. No problem. You have me. If you have another problem, me. If someone is late in the flight and have a problem, with me. Of course, not with me, with the organization that represent me in each part of the country. So it is at an advantage for you, because you have only one organization to talk. You need to fly from Mars to El Dorado Airport. It will a new entrance, so I provide you the slots. No problem with that. Huh? Because we are only one entity, unit, to talk about aviation. The second role is the authority. The authority is the way that we oversight the system in the same organization. So we oversight the system with a lot of capabilities under the law and under a decree of the president. So authority have the opportunity to punish, to enforce, and in some way to handle the safety and security issues of the economic of the system. We have also under our duties the air navigation service provider. And that's an advantage, because economic, authority, and air service providers could work together in solve issues of capacity around the service or around efficiency, and it works for us. We also are an airport service provider. OPA in El Dorado Airport is a concession. The airport belongs to the organization that I represent. So we are an airport service provider directly, because we handle airports, or indirectly in some way, because the El Dorado Airport belongs to the nation under a contract of concession. So we have some kind of influence to build the airport, and I have been in the civil aviation for 31 years, and something that I be proud to be part is when we concessioned the El Dorado Airport, 2006, and we have now a very good infrastructure for the service of the community. Also, we have the policymaker, and as mentioned, so we have the opportunity to develop a strategy in our transportation. We have, or I have, a board of directors that board take decision around the policy, our transportation policy, planning process, concession issues, and also budget issues. We have a system that belongs to aviation. These people pay the fees to use the airports. Anyway, if they pay to the concession, that money comes to us in a percentage. So people, Ireland pay for use the infrastructure, Ireland pays for use the airspace, and all that money came to the organization, to the aviation. So in some way, that money is close to aviation, is close for any other purpose, and will be used in aviation through investment in airports, investment in ATC, investment in social airports, anyway. Time and time we receive money from the national budget. It is independent of the goals of the nation. Time of time we receive money from other donors that help us in working better, but at the end the system is closed. Money is circulated around and around and around to improve the system. We have some kind of money that goes to sustain another agency, that is the agency that runs the contracts of concessions, and we send a lot of another part of the money to the communities where the airports are located. So the important message is the money is round and round and round. We have also the direction of accident and incident investigation, and also the university that we have is a center that works in trying to provide us the people for the company, for the unit, for the authority, for the service provider, but also providing knowledge to the community. We are not so successful on that, but we have been in discussions with IATA to provide courses and classes about slots and capacity all around what allows to be here talking about the future. We need to train people. We need to talk the same language. We need to understand each other, and only through training is the way that the airlines, pilots, controllers, myself, are capable to work in aviation. So that's what we are. Our National Development Plan put aviation in the center. For the president and for the government and for the country, it's important. This country doesn't have good roads, doesn't have railroads. So at the end, aviation becomes so important. We as Colombians doesn't have also a good use of rivers. So at the end, aviation is important. So aviation became like a connecting and integrating system, so it becomes a strategic for the country. So the National Development Plan put the aviation in each of the axes that it has. The first is in the land, saying the towns, your airport is important. You have to plan your development around the airport because it is important and essential for you. The second X, the human security and social justice, provides subsidies, money to the social network that we handle, and try to say be aware that you have a purpose in a social behalf of people and people that are far away. In the human right of food, put cargo as the main issue. So the plan said Ireland is needed in cargo for moving goods in Colombia. As a productive transformation and internationalization of the country, Colombia saw the future in tourism, and tourism is something important for the country. And also, in that kind of regard, the law provides guidelines about SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuels, and CORSIA for the future of aviation. And at the end, in regional convergence, that is, we need to improve outside of Bogota the level of life and try to give them more opportunities to have a development. So the law is focused in terms and in social networking. Social network for connecting that communities with other towns and with Bogota, of course. So that's our planning law. So Colombia is an opportunity for everyone here. Colombia is the land of beauty. You could have deserts, mountains, snow, if you want to have the opportunity, volcanoes. That's something that, for example, for the Middle East world is important because they have sand, deserts, and they love green. When Emirates arrive, I have the opportunity to talk with a lady that works for Emirates and say to me, I want with my husband to be here playing golf because the green, not the green of the green, the green, the color. So they love that. They love the mountains. So we need to improve tourism through that opportunity that Colombia has as the country of beauty. And also it's an opportunity because it's the door, the gateway, the door of South America. As you see, and do not believe to me, only live your life and visit Colombia, and you are know what I am saying through your own experience. So South America is the opportunity, through Colombia, of course. But it's the opportunity. It was the opportunity in the history when Spanish, Portuguese, and whatever arrived to the Caribbean. And the opportunity to connect far away is through Colombia. And we have 450 direct routes, 231 national routes, and 213 international routes. We are connected with 26 countries, 3 continents, and the most important, we have a level of interesting movements. We have the high-level movement connecting Europe, connecting the US, and Argentina and the South. We have a middle level connected ourselves with a strong market. And we have also a social and regional level that also will be increased in the future because we are promoting that kind of connections. So I saw your faces and I think I'm not convincing you that Colombian is an opportunity. So maybe you have to consider this as a break. Sorry. We have Copa Group through Wingo. We have LATAM Group through LATAM Colombia. We have Avianca. We have also JetSmart in the relationship with American Airlines and Indigo Partners, that is the owner of this company. We have 4 players in a country as Colombia. Something's happening. We have Emirates, we have KLM, Air France, Lufthansa, the biggest player arriving here. So at the end, something's happening. In cargo, we have the main islands. We provide the flowers to the US and the rest of the world. In San Valentine days, we have also in Mother's Days, in Eastern. So at the end, something is happening. That's why it's an opportunity for all. And if you see there are empty space to be used for connecting and had the opportunity to be here. And LATAM, Avianca, Copa, as Wingo, of course, JetSmart, are an opportunity to be feeders of long flights, not only because the Star Alliance or another alliance, because it's an opportunity to change the aircraft in a faster way. A 320 could fly from here to there, and you could connect in a big aircraft to Europe and rest of the world. That's the opportunity. So if we need to change our policy to be more and more capable to connect the country, we have the right and the policy and the political decision to do that. So if you want to connect Colombia with Mars, you could ask, and we could talk about a bilateral, multilateral, or whatever agreement it is needed. If you need that, please contact us. So, South America is important. I'm not selling Colombia. I'm selling the opportunity to connect South America with South America. Argentina is moving. We have right now an agreement that is not so flexible, but I think we could have more empty space. Brazil is now a partner with us, So we are increasing the connectivity with Brazil. Lima, Ecuador, Peru and Ecuador is the same system at the end. Notice a difference between that. We don't have borders in connecting those countries. Bolivia needs to connect through Lima or through Bogota to the rest of the world. And Chile is at the end and is present here because it's connected with LATAM and Sky. So at the end, we are a complete system around South America. Maybe Brazil has more opportunities to connect to Africa and Asia because it's closer. But at the end, the difference is in the connectivity that we could offer to the rest of the other countries around South America. Let me show you something that it will be in your risk analysis. Is the growth of Colombia market. Of course, you are mixes here the international and the national market. But the important message here is that we always be growing. The indicator that we have here, the compound annual growth rate, is taking what we have in 2019 and taking the picture that we have in 2024. And see what's happened each year as an interest rate. So how it increase each year. At the end, the compound annual growth rate is 6.76%. So it means we always grow. Grow because the country doesn't have roads, and sometimes the winter raining put our citizens in troubles to move between cities. And also, the demand has grown in 7-8% over the same period. Seats and demand. It means that Ireland follows the demand, and Ireland is doing a good job. You don't see a lack between offers of seats and demand. Let's see another picture. This picture is very, very clever because it is talking about operations. We increase operation in 2.7% between the 5 years, but the load factor remain between 80 and 75%. What does this mean? That Ireland is doing a good job. The business is working for them. So for the country is working. And at the end, the Ireland is moving to biggest aircrafts. The Ireland is doing a good job. The Irelands are putting more seats in the aircrafts. So they are following the demand. And the demand is increasing each year. We are not accounting here the transit passengers, but the transit passengers you have to add it to this graph, because at the end, the destination of the passengers are outside of the Colombian country. So it looks good. Future always has risk, but in aviation and for the importance for connecting Colombia and be a country, without aviation, Colombia maybe is not the same country as you know today, helps. So the opportunity is there. So let's talk about coordination airports. In Colombia, the only airport that has a level of coordination is Bogota. The others are free. But we are a system. Avianca, LATAM, use the El Dorado Airport as a hub. So they arrive and leave. They arrive and leave. That's why we monitor and see what's happened in the main airports. But at the end, it's only one system, in some way controlled by the decision of Bogota, El Dorado airports, and Ireland's in this kind of movements, mainly LATAM and Avianca. Right now, JetSmart is doing the same, trying to use more Rio Negro for connecting people. And I think at the end, we will have the same movement in Bogota for the 3 main islands, arriving and leaving. So we need to monitor the system, but it does not mean that you could not fly directly to the other airports. The other airports are free and open to you and have a lot of capacity. So coordinated Bogota means in some way coordinated the system. But for direct connections outside of the country, we have the opportunity to do it through other airports. For example, Cali, Rio Negro, Barranquilla, and Cartagena, that are open and without any restriction. I don't know if I am communicating, but I am trying to do the best. So we have something that is particular in Colombia. We have a rule with seasons, winter and summer seasons, but we have also some kind of seasonality inside the country that is different. It is helps to balance the system, but it is not mean that the system cannot adapt to that condition. For you, as visitors, you have raining in the morning, sun in the middle of the day, raining again, sun again, very hot temperature at the middle of the day, and a cold at night. 4 seasons in one day, because we are in a part of the world that is diverse in the movement of the weather. So, if you put it in the long term, in a year, you will see some kind of seasons that are very important to understand for Colombian market. The first one is in orange, is the Holy Week. So at the beginning of the year, we are ending the Christmas season. Then we start the Holy Week. In Colombia, we are very hard workers, so we need nearly, 35 days of rest. So Holy Week became something very important. So people need to rest, fly, international and national. Then we have mid-year holidays. Kids are out of school. People need to take kids outside of the city because mothers and fathers are, what I'm going to do with my kids? So I need to put it in the beach, in the pool, and make it a rest seeing them be happy. We need a rest week for school again. So again, families, what I'm going to do with my kids, again goes out. And we have also in Christmas starting the new season in Colombia. So that's a reality that are far away from the winter and summer seasons that our system provides for the slots. And in cargo, and we are lucky because cargo is not necessary in the same moment of kids. We send kids in an aircraft and then we send flowers. That's good. So first, we start with Valentine's Day. Then we have with Mother's Day. And we have Easter and a season of flowers in December. I'm talking about flowers, but we have also another goods that have the same behavior. So at the end, Colombia, and what I'm trying to express here is has his own seasonality. For a local company, December become clever. They made money on December. They make money right now moving people. So we need more, or they will demand more capacity at that moment of time. It's not winter, it's not summer, it's something that happened here. And it means that we need to find a way to handle it, that seasonality inside a system so rigid between winter and summer. That is the system that right now are the people talking about. It means that locally, Colombia doesn't seem to have a defined seasonality like other parts of the world. Chilean people arrive to San Andres when in Chilean is winter. It's summer for our system of slots, but for them, it's in a different season. And Canadian people arrive to Colombia when it's winter in Canada. So you see, for example, a national route that hasn't have the same behavior. This is 24, 22, and 23. You see the moments that they have a peak, so they have a behavior in a different way. Let's see another road. Madrid, Bogota. In the middle, summer in Europe. For the Colombian people wants to receive summer sharing the experience of knowing Europe. So they move to Europe. And at the end, in Christmas, it's the same. So seasonality for international routes, it depends of our conditions and our behavior as a country. This is Bogota-Quito. Bogota-Quito is more important because by the condition of the traffic and the islands, Ecuador has a different behavior because it has his own seasonality and depends a lot of our traffic on our islands. So at the end, it impacts this road because they are connecting in his own seasonality. What I'm trying to communicate is that we have our own flow. The region moves in his own dance. People move around that kind of decision of travel, but depends of the circumstance, the weather issues. Winter and summer are different in the north and the south, and the movement is around that. So, what or how will be forced to accommodate the three realities? The international standard and reality that are under our regulations, the national environment and the movements in the national seasonality, and of course the social and regional islands that try to move people in airports that don't work 24 hours, or at least we don't have the same kind of infrastructure, so they have to put all this traffic in the hours that we have sun. So we are trying to manage this with the special windows in the system. We had Christmas mission, one of them, and it was a very good experience. So in November, we have a crisis regarding slots. So we try to understand what is happening. We understand what happened is that we need more flexibility when we are around a peak of season inside the country. So we launched a mission, a Christmas mission. So for us, it's a case of a study that make Colombian slot system more efficient and flexible. So we open a window, and the window works. And works because we have adaptability to real demand. So at that moment, we have the ability to adapt the air traffic demand to the Christmas mission. So airlines have more flexibility. In certain flights will be operated smoothly and on time. And we were success. The airlines that I mentioned, Avianca, Latam, whatever, you could ask them about what mission, Christmas mission, does for them. The second issue is the commitment to operational efficiency. So we have a peak of seasons. We succeed in reinforce the island's continued commitment to operational efficiency. So we do a constant communication moment with airlines and adaptation of the system to the request. The third step is efficiency in privileged time slots. Christmas mission, showed that the capacity offered in prime slots was not filled by scheduled commercial passenger aviation. You say this is very strange. What's happened there? Yes, because the winter season is so long. So the planning in the winter season is for a complete season, not for a moment in time that you have a lot of persons that wants to fly. So at the end, when we analyze in detail with the airlines that condition, we follow that in the premium slots, we have capacity. Then we have at the 4, the validation of the programming strategies. The surplus of capacity of certain time slots validate the scheduling strategies implemented to maximize efficiency and minimize the impact on the overall operations. So Christmas mission show us the need to open windows in the line of summer and winter, to adapt our own demand and adapt that moment to the islands. At the end is the conclusion. Like the movies or the series is in an evolution way. What I'm trying to say here for the community and try to put in the table is trying to document what is happening with that kind of windows. Because if we don't learn about what's happened, we could not improve the system. We have also a season on flowers, San Valentin's mission. So we adapt the complete system to the cargo islands, and we were successful. We have the year that we could move more flowers in the complete history of Colombia and works efficiently. So we have a fixed system that we have to adapt to seasonal issues in an effective way. And we need to understand that Colombia have a behavior in a different way. And maybe it applies to other countries as Ecuador. So we need to understand the seasonality of Ecuador, the seasonality of Chile, to try to adapt our system to permit that the islands manage the flow of passengers that they needed to be successful as business. So the mission is that we need to document the experience, not only our experience, the experience of other authorities, to understand how we evolve the complete system, making it more flexible, but inside a rigid and coordinated system. It means that if you have a season, we could adapt our systems to your country. I do not know. Australia maybe wants to move in May. So we need to adapt the system to that condition, because Ireland wants to put more flights, needs to do it because the money is there. So let me talk about some final remarks. The first message: we are the door of South America. The best door. Because you could come in and go out. Inside our house, you will find traffic. It's like if you go to a party. Ring the door, go inside. Wow, what a party. Yes, it's the national traffic. You have vallenato, cumbia, merengue, whatever. All people is traveling. You are a new entrance. Let's see what you offer. Emirates, you are a new entrance. Let's see what you offer. So it's a good party inside my country. It's a beautiful country with a nice party. Then you go and see what is the house. And the house has a lot of people from the South American region. So you find in the party Ecuador, Peru, whatever. Yeah, because also we have an Andean community who has its own decision. We are open skies between the countries that are on that kind of association, the Andean community. So you will find comfortable with the rest of the South America. And you only have to fill your aircraft with all these people in the party and fly far away or to the north. So Colombia have a position unique in South America. And it's the gateway or the door to go inside the continent And also we have, as country, a lot of good conditions for you. Advanced infrastructure, we have a strong regional connectivity, and also we have an opportunity offered to you. We are investment in airports. We have a strong system of that. Because if you see other countries around the world, you find only 1 or 2 airports, maybe 3. We have 5 airports with the international condition and very good airports, and also with a lot of community that wants to fly. The other issue that we are facing is the short of aircrafts and the problem in the supply chain. What is happening in the world, I do not know. But also it's an opportunity. Let me try to be, I don't know how to say that, something with a bubble, with a glass bubble or something like that to predict the future. In the future, we are not going to have aircrafts. Traffic is growing more than aircrafts could be located. Airbus is a dominant right now in the world. Boeing has problems in the chain and producing aircrafts. And the people have some kind of doubt about quality of that manufacturer. For me, it's very good. But anyway, people have his own preoccupations and his own worries. Then you have Chinese people, COMAC, good aircraft, but dependent on the supply chains for the same producers of avionics and engines, maybe. Chinese have the capability to change this. Could be. So we maybe see more aircrafts coming from China. And Embraer trying to produce an aircraft that compete to the 319, something like that, but it still is not well sell in the region. So aircraft is not going to be present. Delays of aircraft strange the islands. So what will be the decision of the airlines? They have 2 opportunities: to move to bigger aircraft if they have the opportunity to get it. Second, increase prices, less that the price regulate the system, or trying to be more efficient in the rotation of the aircraft and multiply the ISS. These 3 decisions is maybe in the board of directors of the companies right now. If the decision is improving the rotation of the aircraft, they need to have a discussion with the coordinators. Because an aircraft moving in 45 minutes is different than an aircraft moving in 1 hour between arrival and departure. So pressure will be there. Maybe it's happening here. Second decision, we need to move to biggest aircraft. So let's see what is going to do and who has the aircraft. Because if you have a bigger aircraft, you have more seats to accomplish with the demand. So at the end, what a country could do is, in some way, premium the airlines who put bigger aircraft. It could be some decision to try to not transfer the cost of the lack of aircraft to the passengers and the price of the tickets. Could be something that the regulator thinks. So let's see what is going to happen. But this is the future for at least the next 5 years. And the pressure of the slots and the pressure of rotating aircraft in more efficient way will be present. That's why the glass bubble said, not me. We are thinking on that. Colombia values, of course, the IATA recommendations. Colombia is bidding in the way that IATA thinks the system will be working, but in accordance of our season present in the country, the seasonability, and also in accordance with the transparency, equality, proportionality, loyalty, and cooperation principles. But we need to understand the way to apply that a system with very strong competition. And we need to find a way to arbitrage that when someone goes out of the principles. Not in the way of lawyers, in the way of pilots, the airlines, the entrepreneurs, the companies, the behavior of the fathers of the system that always be the adventure and grow in aviation. And also let me add it, in a region like our region, we need a lot of coordination between coordinators because we are so close. A flight between Quito and Bogota is not more than an hour. So we need a lot of coordination in the way that the efficiency of the airlines will be guaranteed. So we consider the IATA Worldwide Slot Guidelines as a global practice and a good practice, and we are bidding on that. We need training people. We have to talk the same language, and as an effort that we are committed to do. The Colombia, we have a lot of airports not coordinated, and we want to be more present on that airports. It's open to the airlines. And also, we need in things, and it's related with my comment of aircraft, that putting more seats in an aircraft is good for the system, or changing the aircraft for a bigger is very important in the future. The operational experience in Colombia around the missions and the windows, means that we need to accommodate our behavior as a country in the rules of the slots. 1 year the conference, seasons, winter and summer, and try to adapt them inside the system. And it is superior to us because we handle 70% of the traffic in the national perspective. And it's the only way to guarantee the island's success. And our commitment is to continue adapting that reality, the operational reality, and the airport infrastructure. We need aviation. Let me say it slowly. We as country need aviation, needs aviation to be the country that right now we are. Without aviation, the country will split. We need aviation to join communities that today cannot connect it by car or truck. We need aviation to connect an island in the north and a jungle like Leticia. We need aviation. So in that regard, we need to promote aviation. And for island is good, because if people cannot connect for car, they need to use aviation. If people don't have the way to go to San Andres by boat, they need to use aviation. So that's the potential for aviation. Be complementary, and in some roads, the only way to connect towns. Pacific Coast is an example. It's the only way to go there. The rest is an adventure and maybe risking or taking the risk of your own life. So aviation becomes critical, strategic, and is the way that we have as country to be successful. So thank you very much for your attendance, the passion that you have to this conversation. I hope the message will be transmitted. The need to allocate windows inside the system to be more efficient. The problem that we have to face with our aviation in the future, with aircraft in the future, and the problem that we have to face talking more around what the system means for each country and the needs to be improved. A system that improves is a system that will be successful always and sustainable. And that's the force that we have here, seeing airports, coordinators, and islands together. And that's the way that we could be more efficient, more coordinated, and build a better world. And do not forget that Colombia is the door of South America. Thank you very much for attending this conversation.